Well, howdy, y'all. Are you looking for a low-time pilot job? You're a commercial pilot, maybe you're a flight instructor, and you're just looking for a way to build quality flight time that'll help you get hired by the airlines. Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you about Ameriflight. Ameriflight, every single pilot I've ever met that's worked for Ameriflight is fanatically in love with Ameriflight. And so I'm going to tell you all about Ameriflight in this video. And by the way, I'm Dr. Andy Moltar. I'm a flight instructor, a CFI IIMEI. I used to be a corporate pilot, and I'm a professor of aviation at a university. So, all right. So Ameriflight, like I said, every single pilot that I've ever met that's worked for Ameriflight are fanatically in love with Ameriflight. And so I'll just kind of show you the airplanes they fly. So here's the Saab 340, the Embraer 120 Brasilia, the Fairchild Metroliner, Beechcraft 1900, and the Beech 99. And so when you're a pilot for Ameriflight, typically you get hired when you meet Part 135 PIC minimums, which is about 1,200 hours. But with Ameriflight, it is possible to get hired as a first officer with as low as 500 hours. Now, most of your flying for Ameriflight will be single pilot turbine PIC time. So you're flying by yourself, and you're flying all the way down to minimums, instrument minimums, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. So it's and every pilot just seems that I've known that's worked for them just seems to really love it. Now there's a lot of benefits to it, including the pay. So let's just go ahead and step down since we're talking about low time pilot jobs. So if you're hired as a first officer, they'll start you out about 40,000, almost $41,000. And then, hopefully in that first year, you meet the minimums to get upgraded to captain. And so, captain at 1,200 hours, you could be making $76,503. And then once you build up some more flight time, they'll upgrade you, and now you're making like $89,000. And then once you build up enough flight time, then I mean you're making $101,000. So the money's pretty good, and it just gets to helps you build the flight time that you need to be competitive for the airlines and whatever kind of job you want. Now, in addition to those salaries, they do have additional pay. So if you work weekends, for example, they'll pay you an extra $500 to $1,000 per trip. So that's pretty good. I mean, if all you care about is building flight time and making money, then this is an excellent opportunity. All right, you also get Friday flights, additional pay for Friday flights returning to base after midnight. I mean, if it's more money, why not? Now you can get a location incentive where they'll pay you an extra $1,500 a month, so that's $18,000 a year. Hey, that's a great way to have your apartment paid for. My grandma used to live in El Paso, and it was pretty safe back then. But from what I'm hearing nowadays, it's not the greatest. So they're paying you that for a reason. All right. But okay, so the benefits, you get full medical, dental, vision benefits after the first month after hire date. They'll pay for your training, including transportation, lodging, and per diem, and wages. So that's pretty good. They'll pay for your type rating. Now, that's one of my keys for determining is this a good company to work for. If you're going to get hired by somebody to be a pilot and they're not willing to pay for your type rating, I don't want to work for them. But if they are willing to pay for your type rating, then that means they're willing to invest in you, and it's worth your time. Now, on the other hand of that, you need to commit to them. That's just you honoring your word that, hey, I'm going to work to justify that investment in you. Because I mean, that costs tens of thousands of dollars to give you a type rating. Next, now you'll have to pay for it, but they will reimburse you for your ATP CTP. So you're going to need your ATP to get to the airlines, and um, and you can't take the knowledge test for your ATP until you have your ATP CTP course done. Then you take your ATP knowledge test. The airline will hire you. You do your initial jet type rating, and on that type rating, you also do your ATP check ride with the airline. But another benefit is they have career pathway programs with UPS, and it says here United Airlines. But then when I show you here later in the video, this seems to be the only reference to United Airlines. I know in the past they had this pathway program with United Airlines, but I'm kind of starting to think maybe that's kind of going away. So I don't know. But I don't work for Ameriflight. I never have. I'm not a representative of them. So talking to Ameriflight, they're the ones that can tell you about this. Other benefits, jump seat privileges and KCM privileges. So jump seat, that means that you want to go somewhere for a weekend, you just jump seat on any of these airlines here. And then KCM privileges means that you get to go through the pilot line for security, not the normal passenger line. All right, so training. We'll skip training. Pilot career pathway programs. So that's kind of where I was telling you where I didn't see anything about United Airlines, and I'll explain their UPS pathway program here in a little bit. But their job requirements. So this is what you wanted to see, I'm sure. So for a first officer position, they have Embraer 120 and Saab 340 requirements that are 500 hours total time, 25 hours of multi-engine, 100 hours across country defined as point to point, and that's for Part 135. So Part 135 cross-country time counts as anytime you take off from one airport and land at a different airport. It doesn't matter if it's more than 50 miles, less than 50 miles from those two airports. The fact that you travel to another airport, as far as Part 135 is concerned, that's across country. You also have to have 50 hours a night, 350 hours of PIC, 75 hours of instrument, but they do require that you have your CFI. Now, this is a low time pilot job opportunity. Doesn't mean it's free of having to get your CFI. Whether you apply here or somewhere else, I do recommend you get your CFI. It is the quickest way to build up flight time, because when you finish your commercial pilot certificate, you're going to have around 250, 300 hours of flight time and maybe more. But how are you going to get to that 500 hours total time? Well, the easiest, quickest way is to get your CFI and build yourself up to that 500 hours. There's very few jobs that'll hire you with a brand new commercial pilot certificate with less than 500 hours of total time. So getting your CFI, it's almost like a must. But hey, at least you don't have to do it for that long. And once you get to that 500 hours, you would qualify for this position. Now, this bottom one here, the ACP-FO, I'm not sure what ACP stands for. If I had to guess, that might be like their Ameriflight Cadet Program or Ameriflight Cadet Pathway, something like that, where CFI is preferred. So I don't know, but talk to Ameriflight. They're the ones that would be able to help you with understand that. But then their captains, once you reach 1,200 hours total time, then you'll qualify to be a captain for Ameriflight. And then once you get to 1,800 hours, then you can get upgraded to the Beech 1900, the Sabreliner, 2,000 hours, and then the Embraer 120, and the Saab 340 just have to have 3,000 hours. All right, so I showed you the airplanes. Let's talk about their bases. So as a pilot, there's a lot of different options of where you could be based at, which, if you're a pilot, sometimes you have to be willing to move in aviation. But the nice thing about Ameriflight is they're pretty spread out around the country. So you could still be relatively close to home, as long as you don't live in the southeast of the country, like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. But if you're somewhere else in the country, then hey, there's somewhere relatively close by that you could go to work. So Vermont, or maybe that's New Hampshire. I don't know. Michigan, Nebraska, Texas, Arizona, California, Oregon, Washington. Now their headquarters is here in DFW, the one with the star. So I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it really is a fun place to live. Great opportunities, lots of things to do. It does get hot in the summers, but it's just kind of, you got to suffer the 2 months of hell in July and August so that you get to experience heaven the rest of the year. But other than that, there's so many things to do. It is kind of expensive to live there. Your rent's going to be exorbitant, but hey, I mean, you're making okay money living. I mean, making okay money working for Ameriflight. So that shouldn't, you should be able to afford to live somewhere that's safe. But yeah, other places like Michigan, Omaha, I'm guessing those are pretty relatively cheap. Portland, I'm guessing that's kind of expensive. California, probably expensive. Phoenix, expensive. I don't know anything about Washington, this area, so my guess is cheap, but who knows? Uh, Not me. And then the last thing I want to tell you about, let me go ahead and find it here, is the pathway programs. So and I had it here, but oh, here we go. UPS Flight Path Program. So they have two different paths. This first path, you can look at it on your own. This is where I'll just go ahead and talk about a little bit, but basically, you have a commercial pilot certificate with multi-engine, graduated within the previous 24 months, enrolled as a junior or senior, um, and you actually go do an internship with UPS. So you're working for UPS like for a year, um, and you're working in all these areas. Or no, I'm sorry. This its position is offered in the spring, summer, and fall semester. So you're in college, you're doing this for a semester, and you get to work in these areas. If that's your situation, man, I would recommend this because anytime you can get an internship working for an airline, when it comes time for you to apply for that airline or UPS, for example, any Part 121 operator, the fact that you've done an internship with them, you will move to the top of their hiring list in terms of like candidates. So someone with more flight time, you're going to beat them out as long as you meet the minimums. You're going to beat them out because you've done that internship. All right. They pay you during that what you might call it during that internship. You get travel benefits and all sorts of things. So there's you can apply here. There's more information on the program, but really I want to tell you about the other pathway program, which is Path Two. And so Path Two, so maybe you are in college, but you're not doing the internship. But maybe you already have your bachelor's degree, or you're at least started in a bachelor's degree program. And so this might be good if, like, let's say you're a commercial multi-engine pilot and you're going to start working like on an online bachelor's degree. This could be good. But basically, this is a 2-year program in which you're going to do one of the following. You're going to work as a check airman. You'll be an instructor for Ameriflight or be in one of their management roles. You do personal or professional development. Maybe get like a graduate degree, work on a foreign language, leadership training, volunteer service. Airlines love seeing volunteer service on your resume, so highly recommend that. If you have military experience, great. And so in this 24 months, they're helping mold you into the pilot that UPS wants. In fact, as you'll see in this third column, they'll match you up with a mentor, and then at the end of the 24 months, in this last column, you're going to be guaranteed an interview with UPS whenever they're hiring, and you meet the requirements of this program. They will give you an interview for their Part 121 operation. And so this is a great pathway to get to UPS. All right, well, that's all I have for you in this video. Thanks for watching. Watch all my other videos on low time pilot opportunities. I got lots of other videos, and please feel free to subscribe, like, comment. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'm happy to answer them. All right, you take care. Bye.